some amount of lead in it, and it has never had a negative effect. And rasam tastes so good in it. To
So
enjoy the
material science professor's recipe of rasam should be really exclusive. I will use this video for promotion.
material science is like cooking, yeah, really.
Okay, so what's your favorite dish?
Actually, it's rasam. Yeah, you're very good in interviewing. Perfect. I can see that.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. हेलो फ्रेंड्स, इन कॉन्वर्सेशन विद जूही शुक्ला में आपका स्वागत है। आइए आज आपको ले चलते हैं यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ कैम्ब्रिज और मिलते हैं ट्रिनिटी हॉल में प्रोफेसर आर वसंत कुमार से। प्रोफेसर आर वसंत कुमार मटेरियल्स केमिस्ट्री ग्रुप के प्रमुख और यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ कैम्ब्रिज में ट्रिनिटी हॉल के फेलो हैं। वे एनर्जी इंस्टीट्यूट और इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मटेरियल्स माइनिंग एंड मेटलर्जी के फेलो भी हैं। उनके कई रिसर्चर्स ने लाइसेंसेस एंड इंडस्ट्रियल प्रैक्टिसेस का नेतृत्व किया है। उन्होंने एक साथ 4 स्टार्टअप कंपनीज की स्थापना की है, जिसमें से एक भारत में भी है, जो उन्हीं के कुछ आविष्कारों का व्यवसायीकरण, कमर्शियलाइजेशन ऑफ हिज इन्वेंशंस कर रही है। वर्तमान में प्रोफेसर कुमार का रिसर्च ग्रुप अनुसंधान के दोहन के आधार पर रिसर्च का उपयोग करके कई रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट्स पर काम कर रहा है। विभिन्न प्रकार के अनुप्रयोगों में जो एनर्जी डिवाइसेस जैसे बैटरीज और फ्यूल सेल्स से लेकर एनवायरमेंटल रिसर्च इन एयर क्वालिटी तक, सस्टेनेबिलिटी ऑफ रिसोर्सेस एनर्जी से लेकर रिसाइकलिंग ऑफ मटेरियल्स तक शामिल है। डॉक्टर कुमार अत्याधुनिक तकनीकी के विकास के लिए, डेवलपमेंट ऑफ कटिंग एज टेक्नोलॉजीज के लिए कमिटेड हैं, खासतौर पर जो न केवल समाज को लाभान्वित करे बल्कि समाज के निचले हिस्से में फंसे लोगों तक पहुंचे। डॉक्टर कुमार ने 350 से अधिक पेपर्स, 20 पैटेंट्स, हैंडबुक में 6 चैप्टर्स और एक एडिटेड बुक संपादित पुस्तक जिसका नाम है हाई एनर्जी लिथियम बैटरीज वाइली VCH 2010 प्रकाशित किए हैं। उन्होंने 40 से अधिक PhD स्टूडेंट्स, 35 पोस्ट डॉक्टोरल रिसर्चर्स, 20 विजिटिंग स्टूडेंट्स और 15 से अधिक विजिटिंग प्रोफेसर्स को सुपरवाइज किया है। वे 3 यूनिवर्सिटीज में गेस्ट प्रोफेसर हैं and he is recipient of honorary engineering degree from University of Malaysia, Kroll Medal from Institute of Materials, Minerals and Mining IOM3 for translating research into industrial applications, औद्योगिक अनुप्रयोगों में अनुसंधान के अनुवाद के लिए। प्रोफेसर कुमार IOM3 जर्नल मिनरल प्रोसेसिंग एंड एक्सट्रैक्टिव मेटलर्जी के एडिटर इन चीफ और IOM3 के तकनीकी प्रभाग में बोर्ड के सदस्य हैं। लेट्स वेलकम प्रोफेसर आर वसंत कुमार। गुड मॉर्निंग वसंत जी।
गुड मॉर्निंग, नमस्ते।
आई एम वेरी एक्साइटेड कि आज मैं एक प्रोफेसर से सवाल करूंगी और सर आपको सही जवाब देने हैं।
ठीक बात।
तो मटेरियल साइंस प्रोफेसर से पहला सवाल ये कि भिलाई आपके माइक्रोस्कोपिक लेवल में या एटॉमिक लेवल तक बसा है? हाउ मच भिलायन डू यू फील यू आर?
आई फील लाइक अ परमानेंट भिलायन। जब मैं भिलाई 1978 छोड़कर मुंबई गया था, तब बॉम्बे IIT, और उसके बाद बहुत दिन रेगुलरली भिलाई आना जाना रहा। और अभी आजकल भिलाई में रिसेंटली गया तो नहीं हूँ, पर मेरे मन में भिलाई हमेशा है। और भिलाई के फ्रेंड्स और स्कूल के फ्रेंड्स वगैरह से तो कांटेक्ट है ही आजकल सोशल मीडिया से, और जब मौका मिलता है उनसे मिलता हूँ। ऐसे कॉन्टैक्ट्स के कारण हम लोग भिलाई के बारे में बात करते हैं हमेशा। और बात करते हैं तो ये तो बहुत ही इतनी अच्छी जगह है, कैसे भूल सकते हैं।
करेक्ट। So you are now living in Cambridge for so many years. So what life experience you have learned from Canada and Cambridge, if you would like to share something?
I lived in Cambridge longer than anywhere else. I think it has become a home for me, and it's a small town, even smaller than Billai.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can imagine. So it's I feel comfortable from that point of view, but it is different from Billai. It is different from where I was in Canada. It's a very unique place. It's a very, very cosmopolitan place because it has got people from everywhere in the world. It's very international, very global students here, and also the academic staff and people living in the town. So it's interesting place that way. And of course, it's very scholarly place. That is also true. It has got so many historical achievements, and it
Yes.
continues to stay on the top league, even though the competition is very, very stiff these days because there are great universities everywhere.
Yeah, and Cambridge is very beautiful. And what I have understood by going to Oxford many times in last couple of years, that professors are called by their first names. As you also requested, it will be difficult for the Bhalayan in me to call you Vasant, but I will do try because it will make you comfortable. So,
Yeah,
Vasant, let's
great.
dive
Thank you.
into your field. And why should young people be interested in metallurgy and material science?
Because material science is a very important subject in scientific field or in any field, because everything is made of something.
Yes.
It studies all matter. Yeah, and the study of matter at a level which is extremely fascinating, because if, without all the materials surrounding us, human life has no meaning. Yeah, and I'm not
Correct.
only talking about things that may be something totally new like a robot or a semiconductor.
Exactly.
The natural materials, I mean, the
Yes.
whole, and we learn, material science has learned so much from the natural materials. Yeah, how the nature itself designs. And the subject has grown over centuries and over decades, and it actually encompasses all science and engineering within it, include all aspects of it. And not only that, actually it's very important to understand geology. It's very important to understand economics and finance and business to do good work in this area and to educate. So therefore, I think it's almost like an universal subject in one sense, even though it does not have the same fame as some engineering like IT or physics, for example. But
Correct.
I think everybody realizes how important materials science is, and it actually also a subject which looks at the material at a level which we cannot see through our eyes. It magnifies the structure of material billion times. Yeah. And it looks at that level. If you can make transformation into the materials, then you find that you get properties that you couldn't envisage. So it has been such a fascinating field. And I would say that in the future, these materials related to the resources and the use of resources and use it in such a circular economy that there are no waste, I would say is one of the leading subjects. It could be in science and engineering for years to come, decades to come.
So, what is more important as per you in science, is a big picture thinking or the IQ?
I would say the big picture thinking is very important.
All
I
right.
think because I think therefore it will draw more people into it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And more people are drawn into it. The IQ is a formative thing. Yeah, it's inherent in everybody. So
Okay.
I'm not. So therefore, I think it's more people taking serious interest and creating passions in any subject, of course, including my own subject. Is what drives people to influence and make changes and participate and collaborate and work together, because there's no individual achievements that are important anymore. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
just
it's all the
people who get
team
the
thing.
credit,
Yeah,
but it's a whole team of people that have to work together to make things
correct.
happen.
Yeah, I totally believe in that too. Is science becoming too complicated? Would you recommend a career in science? As I'm asking you this because your son is into sports and he's a boxer. So, what is your advice to the students today?
It is problematic that science has become so jargon oriented. I think that is the nature in which how disciplines have grown over at least 100, years. They've become very jargonized.
Correct.
Yeah, and therefore I think in one sense science will become more interesting if we go back in time to when science was part of philosophy. Yeah,
Oh,
so therefore it was a subject. Therefore, it was not barred from anybody. Yeah, so I think that this is, I strongly feel that there is a whole range of efforts now to make science acceptable to more and more people and make it more interesting and less jargonized. So I think this opportunity will slowly evolve. It's not as far away from it at the moment. It's still getting into more deeper jargon, and people work in very, very narrow fields and so deeply. Then they know something about everything about that topic, but they know maybe not much about all around the world what else is going on. So this is a danger in science, I think, but it is self-correcting, because if one becomes useless because you're not aware of the rest of the world around you other than one little subject, then your point of contact with the society becomes less and less important.
Correct.
So I think, therefore, this change is beginning to happen, and it may suddenly happen very quickly. And I think this is required. And more people are involved in many subjects simultaneously. We don't have to call it philosophy, but something which is encompassing from all social subjects, social science subjects, to languages, to science subjects, and so nobody can be expert in everything, but that's not the point. But everybody will have enough knowledge to be able to make a good judgment on the development that we ourselves are participating. Everybody is participating in one way or the other in changes that take place in the society. So everybody's role is, I think, very, very crucial in that.
So, what would you like to tell the students in Bhilai?
So education for all, and in some equal terms, is extremely important, because that makes people interested in things and asking questions. And of course, I'll be biased and advocate material science as a great career for people, and for that is following the knowledge of, as I said, the basic scientific way of thinking, and the mathematics as a tool of science. That is also important to feel comfortable in it. And then, of course, thinking through other aspects related to nature. It might be that a lot of biology, a lot of material scientists in the past never learned biology. I would say so much inspiration for materials comes from nature. Yeah, whether it's geology or biology. So, and then, of course, there's a lot of things related to resources and utilization, and is related to economics and business and finance. Yeah. So I think all these subjects can become part of somebody's, if you like, canvas in material science. So therefore, there's room for a large number of people. Yeah, those who are into mining. Yeah, first thing they have to calculate is how long will the resources last, how much will it cost to bring it out of the earth, what do we do with the waste, and what happens once people are using it.
Correct.
I think there's so many questions one has to ask him, and what the environmental impact. Everybody makes something, they're causing environmental damage. People are using it, causing environmental damage. How do we produce remedial actions for that? So you can see that, the entire activities together comprise, in my mind, a proper material science. So, and people can therefore pick and choose ultimately the areas that are of
Correct.
interest.
It's quite a diverse area, I can see, right?
Yeah, it
Uh,
is. Yeah.
वसंत, आपने स्टार्टअप्स के बारे में कुछ बताएं। आपने 4 स्टार्टअप्स जो करे हैं, आपके कौन से इन्वेंशंस को यूज किया जा रहा है? And I'm very keen to know about the startup in India. So maybe you can tell about that.
The interest in startups is to do with the fact that what is the purpose of that research? Yeah. Is it just to publish some papers and hope that somebody will read it and do something with it, or whether you participate, in making some changes? Yeah. In other words, everybody has to be, in my mind, an agent of those change. Yeah. So I think that is what led me to think about making the science into technology. And of course, I wouldn't say that I will have expertise in opening a business or running a business. So you have to work with people who have those kind of expertise. So you have to collaborate right from the start.
Correct.
And then that is one aspect. Other aspect of it is, when something is new, it takes a while before it germinates, and then it can take off. It can take sometimes very long time. You can't predict how long. So you have to play a long game. Sometimes you do it. Yeah. So there are so many inventions that may not even in one's own lifetime is achieved its potential. It does after some time. Yeah. And you can't see that. Some things happen immediately. So there is the thing. You can't give up. You have to be patient and take failure as it comes, but still. Yeah, so that's one thing. But I think you ask the context about the technology startup in India. I mean, one thing I was interested after my visit studying in Canada, as I realized that what's happening, we were sort of aware of it because Bhilai steel plant was done with the Soviet collaboration. So we know that, and I used to go to the steel plant. I used to know and see Russians there advising the Bhilai engineers. Yeah, it is not that the Bhilai engineers did not know, but they somehow become dependent on that advice. Yeah. And so that made me think that some technologies are not at the inception starting in India. They should be starting in India when it is new. Yeah, the
So
risk
thoughtful.
taking, that is that, and that because otherwise the inequality within not only the social areas but the technological areas actually accelerates the inequality between countries. Yeah,
Correct.
therefore we always are receiving end, and the
Yes,
technology comes
we
at a
are.
later stage or initially at a very high cost. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
that was the thought behind it. It's not only my thought; many people are doing it, and IT and service industry and also health and industry in biomedical industry, India already shown that where there's a will, this can be done. It was all
Understood.
done. Yeah, I knew many of my friends in IIT Mumbai. They went into IT and they transformed India's image that new technologies will start in India. Yeah.
Your classmate from Infosys, right?
Yeah, for example,
Mm.
that's right. Yeah,
Ah,
and Nandan Nilekani, a famous
ah,
person. He is my classmate. Yeah,
mm,
and it's an example. Yeah, so and there are numerous examples of that caliber that people
mm,
were doing already, and therefore, as I said, the hard technology is one area
mm,
that it is an opportunity in India.
mm,
And I spoke to a number of people, and I think ultimately I managed to persuade one of my brothers to take
mm.
risk. And he did, yeah. And I said it will be a long,
Yeah.
drawn out situation because
Mm,
firstly, you may not find half the components made in India.
mm.
Maybe they're available nearby is maybe Singapore or Malaysia or
Ah,
somewhere. Yeah,
mm.
and the other thing is people will be asking, where is it designed, where is it made? If you say
Correct.
made at the moment, hard technology, people think made outside is or made in Japan is better
Mm.
than made in India. So those kind of
Challenges.
challenges were to be tackled. It's a
Mm,
slow, but of course, changes are also taking place in India because
mm,
we know that there was all kind of industrial infrastructure already existing at the
mm.
big level, and
Correct.
the startup culture was not there. It's there now, massive. Yeah. So it's not, yeah, every person if they do something like this.
Mm,
Yeah. And it is also not only technologies are now invented in India itself and people make them, this young people are doing that,
mm,
or if people like myself find myself outside and working in university where that's what you do, you develop new
mm,
technologies,
mm.
you think through how you persuade your own university to license to companies in India.
Good. Vasant, you have 20 patents under your belt. Can you share some easy to comprehend patterns for the normal people like me? We don't understand science very well.
I'll talk about two patterns. Yeah.
All right.
One is to do with a huge number of batteries that we
Mm,
produce, use, throw away, and or leave it to be recycled in an informal economy in a very
mm.
dangerous way.
Yes.
Yeah. And all that, of course, we know that everything is recycled in India in some way or other, but very, very dangerously, and it's an informal economy, and it's a
Mm,
livelihood for many people. I
correct.
am aware of that, but they will not may not have the knowledge to appreciate which are important material, which are not, so and
Mm,
which are toxic and which are not. So not only, so that I was aware of that. So that is one thing I was aware. Another thing I was aware that there are some materials that it's used in pipes. For example, in India, used to have lead pipes. The
mm,
Roman
mm,
Empire we used lead pipes everywhere. So I could, if you go to old Roman places in Europe, you see lead pipes underground, yeah, and lead baths and things like that. So I thought that's an example, because lead is used, the toxic material used in batteries. India is one of the largest producer of lead batteries in the world, yeah. And it's then other thing I also knew from some, the Rasam, yeah, it not only, it basically uses an alloy which contains lead. Yeah, so I was surprised that, and that's the only thing they use it for, making Rasam, nothing else.
You mean the Rasam Patra?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that method? My friend has it and she keeps telling I make rasam in this. I said, this doesn't look good to me. It looks toxic to me. So what is that material?
It's got lots of other elements in it, and it has changed with time. But traditionally, because lead is very easy to make a pot at home, even people used to have this technology at home long time in India. It's a very old.
So it's safe to have rasam from that pot, is it?
Yeah, it is very safe. But
Oh, okay.
this and the Roman Empire, both these things surprised me as to how the Roman Empire lasted for centuries, and only when they went far away to the Germanic region, there was poisoning, of lead poisoning, and then this community in India, especially in the southern India, this thriving community for centuries, and and embodied with a lot of intellect and
I know,
things.
I agree.
Therefore, I knew that there's no poisoning on them. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So you belong to that community also, is it?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
ancestry is
Okay.
communicated. Yeah.
Okay.
So therefore, I said to my researchers, we need to look at all the reactions that takes place in this material. Yeah, and this turns out very simply is to do with without using jargon, it to do with the acids that are in either imli or nimbu.
I'm happy to hear Hindi words, and
Yeah,
yes, people will
and of course
understand.
also in Santra.
Yeah.
And of course, this is the common factor, because the rasam is made with this acidic. Yeah.
Correct.
And the same with the Roman Empire, they were exactly in the area where there's a growth of oranges was so common. So therefore, there must be some connection to that. So therefore, that particular, how that these acids, groups of acid react with the material is a very basic, simple research. But I was surprised to find out that the medical establishment and medical research already knew if there's lead poisoning, is rather minor lead poisoning, that you regularly drink nimbu juice or santra, eat
Any
santra.
citrus, yeah.
Yeah, citrus, any citrus, or imli,
Acidic, yeah,
or
acidic, yeah.
vinegar, vinegar, for example. All of these things help you not have any symptoms, any problems with it. And I was surprised and so much, but I said, of course, a doctor would not think about using this method to recycle batteries. So therefore the university patented. I said the knowledge is there, but nobody's used it. They said no, it can be patented, and then it is now a factory in the UK, which actually and it's licensed to a very large US Swiss company, and they're trying to use this technology all over the world with lots of interest, including from India. So there are some companies in India who are very interested in using it. Yeah, so that's an example of your own background knowledge sometimes helps you to do some. I thought it was so simple, everybody would know it. I was surprised nobody had done it. Yeah.
And this knowledge comes from the kitchen, and I'm happy that an Indian has done it too. So it's really, really a good thing. Thank you so much. Vasant, what role artificial intelligence plays in material science and metallurgy?
Yeah, artificial intelligence is a new pillar in all subjects, really. Yeah, but especially in material science, because material science is actually operates at quite a high dimension in terms of being able to say if you have some input and to be able to predict the output. Yeah, it's not easy. So in other words, you require a lot of experiments, a lot of theory. So sometimes the discoveries take a long time. Yeah. Let's say if today somebody said we want new batteries for running all electrical cars in Indian conditions where the temperatures may be 50 degrees some places in the summer and minus 5 degrees in some places in winter, and heavy rainfall, and maybe the atmosphere is polluted and therefore the rainfall will have acidity in it, with sulfur dioxide or nitrogen oxide. Under these conditions, these batteries, and also we have to be able to charge quickly and also run for a long period of times in some good roads. There are good roads and some bad roads, without any accident. So if you have to do that, the research purely in that condition, of course, the conditions in India are similar to some other economies and regions of the world, it may take a very long time. Or one could just say, okay, the battery already developed in Japan or South Korea, just get that, or China, get that, and that's happening anyway, or see how we can adapt to the lead batteries, which is made in large quantities in India, to adapt to these conditions. And it's not only the transportation, but also the solar energy and wind energy. You require a support from the battery because it is not sunshine 24 hours. There's no wind all the time. So you need support for energy storage. So so if you use artificial intelligence, and you supervise learning of the artificial intelligence, it's basically it's a machine learning with a program that it uses all the information available and make predictions. So instead of doing 20 years of painstaking work, you can cut short. You can do it faster. It can also do unsupervised learning. It's not yet applied, but that may be very relevant for, say, space exploration or for nuclear fusion, which some people are trying, or the breeder reactor in India, because some things we do not know because we do not have the input. Or we may have the input, we do have no way of predicting any. There's not enough data to predict, to learn. So it's an unsupervised learning. So that means that the artificial intelligence allows to fast track, and this is beginning to take off in material science. So
all right, very nicely summarized. Yes. So, what technology are you excited or concerned about that others are not talking about yet?
Sometimes the simplest thing would be the the best. One is to look at all the materials we use and dispose. How, with minimum amount of energy and with maximum amount of clean energy, energy which is not polluting, one can recover those materials, with a minimum number of steps to remake the same thing that we disposed, or make something new that is of use to people.
You're talking about renewable energy.
I would say it's a circular economy. So resources become sustainable. Energy cost becomes affordable, or at least not, it's clean. And it's a new frontier of thinking. So it's not only, of course, we have to think about how not to waste and how not to throw things and how, but that alone will not solve the problem. It's a whole frontier thinking. I would say this may be very important. In addition to that, very important are the resources that we have to conserve and reuse again and again. This, I would say, the most important resource, I would say, is water and air. These are the two most important resources.
Okay, I wanted to ask you this question. Which resources from the earth are you most concerned about overuse? Which resources from the earth are you most concerned about overuse? And do you worry that we'll run out of which key resources? So you have mentioned that water and
If you carry on how the economies function at the moment, we will run out of a lot of resources, including oil, or become more difficult, or require a lot more energy to get them out of the ground and create a lot more waste, etc. So I think, therefore, they have to focus on which are the crucial resources for the biosphere, for human beings and the living beings. And the planet. I think, therefore, one has to say water and air are so critical. So one has to see how these are kept clean, or how they're cleaned even when they're dirty. Yeah, so that there's a recovery of the resource again and again and again and again. Yeah, so, and therefore then it is, you do not need to fight for water. You do not need to have water-related shortages and water-related illnesses or air-related illnesses, which is very, very common now. Yeah, we know how it is. You just have to go to visit some big cities in India. You know how bad it is, and especially in winter. So I think that's one area. Other area is that a lot of waste we produce from agriculture, from our activities, domestic industrial activities, how they become our new resource. How we do that. Yeah, I would say this would be in my mind, and then the use of energy which is clean. Yeah, so therefore it's moving away from coal and oil to solar and hydro and wind, etc. This is the area both connected to your earlier question about where it should be in the future. Yeah, and I think sometimes it's nice that we have lots of other new possibilities come up, and we're excited by them. But if the basics are not covered, all the exciting new things we might be able to buy, toys and this and that to play with, they become relatively less important, because the rest of the society is struggling with water and air and waste, yeah, and the toxic burden. Yeah, so I would say this is absolutely the new frontier in which all aspects of not just scientists working on it, yeah, but the society has to buy into that, and the people who are basically making decision in business and finance and investment, they all have to participate in this. I would say this is the frontier change that will happen, because people cannot cope anymore with that. You know how it is. Yeah, so I think that.
And during the lockdown, we have realized that how important our nature is to us. So, can you tell us some environment-friendly methods that are in use in metallurgy to reduce carbon footprints, and what we can do at our end?
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So I think that we already can see the very large use of solar power. Yeah.
Correct.
Directly using sunlight for various applications. And this may be, for example, producing electricity. And of course, we know that many people in India still don't have electricity, as an example. Yeah. So given how empowering electricity is, because just to have light at home in the night, that means education for the younger generation can happen throughout the day. And also realizing that energy means a lot of very hard labor carried out just by collecting water. And you can see that it's the norm is that the women we can see on movies and TV carrying water for ages after standing in the queue. Yeah, so yeah, if there's a water pump, yeah, and clean water everywhere, and that's all done by solar energy, for example, or energy from renewable sources. So that make a huge impact. Yeah. So
yeah, solar energy. I think India is already doing a lot on solar energy. My friends were doing some, big projects everywhere. Tell us something else which we can do, and maybe we are not aware of it because you are in Cambridge and we are not. So, what are your concerns? How can we reduce the carbon footprints?
yeah. Okay. So the other way is transportation.
Yes.
Widespread change in the transportation, which will make a shift in 10, 20, 30 years perhaps, but it's starting now. It's already started. Using resources which will not produce carbon footprint, which is very negative at the moment, which will also not pollute, because they go hand in hand. It's the same fossil fuel which produces carbon footprint also produces pollution. So people are more concerned immediately about pollution, because they see that the carbon footprint is maybe decades away in their mind. Yeah, it's not obvious to many people that the changes in climate are happening faster than we realize, and can be catastrophic suddenly. It can be a sort of a click point when it suddenly everything changes so quickly. So therefore, one has to, the insurance policy is that you have to continuously reduce that. Yeah, because there's enough evidence to know that this is happening, and islands are disappearing, in the world, etc. And we can see so much evidence. So that, yeah. So therefore, I think the large scale effect of this will really come from how we get energy and how we use energy in transportation. Yeah, and these are the big areas, and also how we might be using energy at homes, because there's a large number of homes with using more and more um, gadgets and more air conditioning. It requires a lot of energy. A lot of it is wasted as well. Yeah.
Good.
So the efficiency of energy usage is very poor, something which is highly polluting and highly climate changing potential. Yeah, so I think so. You can see. I think it's really is. These are the ideas where, okay, well, the question to ask: what may be the new technology that will come out? It may be artificial. Maybe it may be so smart it will judge how people are behaving, and just ideas and that to reduce that and make it safer and better for people. And if it does it for millions of people at the same time, then the impact will be visible. Yeah, and of course we know that countries like India are in the forefront of this change, because if India did not make a major effort into this, it's such a large country with a huge potential that it can actually hold back everybody else. But if India makes the changes fastest, everybody will follow India.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think changes will come very fast now because some things are happening which is telling people to be careful about their privacy. So soon some things should come and tell about air and water also.
Yeah.
Uh, what cutting edge technologies are reaching the underprivileged?
I think we already have the success of the mobile phone. Yeah, it was completely new. Yeah, because we had no idea of mobile phones when we were in Billai, when I was in Billai. Yeah, now look, I mean, everybody has it. Yeah, so and it's quite common. You go to rural areas of India, the mobile phone
Hmm.
is prevalent. Yeah, but sometimes they can't charge it in their own place. They have to
Ah,
collect the phone and go miles. Somebody takes it and charges somewhere else. Yeah, so they can imagine. So that, yeah, so the mobile phone is a very good example of a cutting technology that can reach. Yeah,
hmm.
and therefore it did not depend on the infrastructure of a connection of a phone line.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you can see that is the kind of technology one has to think about. Yeah, so I would say that the biggest technological that will reach people is education, individual education, not just socially. Of course, socially is important. People go to schools, etc. But
Hmm.
all the time, the young people have education on their fingertips.
Correct. Absolutely.
Really, we are still talking about the basics that reach entrepreneur. The basics is I would say energy, electricity, and energy. Of course, they use energy. They use kerosene. They use wood. Yeah, but they're not the right energy. Yeah, so we have to say
Correct.
the right type of and electricity. Because electricity, high quality energy,
Hmm.
it sustains many other technology. And then, as we already said, water, air, and advances in agriculture. Yeah.
Correct.
So these are the I think these are the basics, and then as a result of that, the escalation in the ladder will happen. Yeah, because you give somebody the empowered ability to make changes, they will. If they don't have that power, yeah, they fall
Absolutely.
backwards, not go move forward. I think that's just changes are happening. I know that, but it is much lower than one would have envisaged.
Correct. So what I understand from talking to you is the definition would be air, water, and energy. Is now talking to materials science professor can change it to quality air, quality water, and quality energy should reach the underprivileged also. For
Well,
the sustainable world, sustainable
yeah, you
world.
perfectly put it. Perfectly put it.
This is the rapid fire round with the Cambridge professor. Vasant, trust me, this round is like an exam, and the questions aren't easy. So
Yeah. I only set exam questions, not answer them these days.
you
At
have
that
to.
time,
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. By which year electric cars will become mainstream?
Globally, it may be it take about I would say 20 to 25 years, but in some parts of the world it will be faster. Cambridge is
When are you expecting all electrical cars in Cambridge? By which year?
2030.
All
2030.
right. Okay.
Yeah,
And
bicycle
any tech.
bicycle is very common here.
I know bicycle is so common in Europe. I wish
I,
people start using bicycle now.
yeah, yeah.
Any technology can always be used for good or for bad. So good too, we have seen a lot. Tell us about the bad.
Yeah, I think the IT is an example.
Hmm.
IT can be used for very bad purposes, because it's a propaganda machinery for those who want to use it badly.
Hmm. Okay.
And every technology by itself, it may appear neutral, but it never is neutral. Yeah, because it's got side effects. As you say, you may be producing some fantastic new device, but what are the bad effects in the environment? So therefore, I would say that is it's a very good question, because it's a rapid fire question, but that is where we have to do audit.
Hmm.
So we will begin to see that a lot of technology has good and bad almost simultaneously. So if the audit is on the good side mostly and the bad side, that technology should prevail. So I would say that we have to look at every technology currently in practice. And this will start auditing.
Okay. Okay. Do you see a future where we will take mining to the moon or Mars?
Not without artificial intelligence. Yeah, but that will help, because as you said, we can't predict everything there. But of course, there are projects already, and NASA has projects, and other countries may have secret projects already about because the moon, for example, has lots of rocks,
Hmm.
from which one can derive oxygen. Yeah,
No.
for example, you break it down. So that's an example. Yeah. So yeah, but it might. I'm not sure what purpose it will immediately serve.
Hmm.
If it's used as a resource for people on Earth, it's a long way. It's a long way. So I think, yeah, but it may be of, yeah, it's human beings are interested in sometimes trying new things. So in that sense,
Hmm.
it's a nice thing to try to learn something. We learn a lot from it. Yes, to under those conditions, how
Hmm.
things produce, how things, who will use it, maybe those who visit those places, the
Hmm.
short number of people, they need oxygen anyway, so you don't
Yeah.
have to take it from here.
Okay. Give an example of a great scientist in your opinion who's worthy of admiration.
uh, okay, I mean, of course, there are lots of very famous people around, but I look at myself, look at people who may not be very well known
Oh,
today,
hmm.
but they may be. They're well known in their circles. Yeah, I was
Correct.
studying when I was studying in IIT Bombay, so we had
Hmm.
some fabulous people working, studying with me. And one junior student to me, he is a professor in Bangalore now,
Mhm.
and I think he's absolutely fabulous. Yeah, he's
How
yeah.
lovely. Tell his name. I'll take his interview
His
also.
yeah, you can have a Google. His name is Apurva Patel. He's doing
Okay.
quantum computing work
Oh,
related to that.
wow. Oh, wow.
He's a
That is very
physicist.
interesting field.
Yeah, and he's in my mind, that's the kind of person who could get Nobel Prize one day. He's extremely, yeah, he was very modest. I saw him when I went to Bangalore one time. I was giving a talk, so I didn't know how to contact him, but
Hmm.
I didn't. So he came looking for me because he saw my name, and we just spoke after a long time. He's as modest as he was, even though in his subject field he's world famous. Yeah, but his name is not widely known. As an example, yeah.
Totally. See, sir, we are trying to connect Bhilians, but as of now, I understand talking to people who are the real people in life, other than the celebrities. It's very important to get to know the world through the lens of the real eyes, who are out there doing something for the world, not for themselves alone.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm very happy that you mentioned a junior's name. Normally, people would always mention some senior or some celebrity's name. So I'm really humbled to see that. It's such a beautiful feeling. I mean, Apoorv should see this interview. Yeah, I believe
He's
so.
so intelligent, it's unbelievable. He never got everything he got 100% in my memory when I was in IIT. Never one thing was wrong. Never studied. It just was there in his intelligence. It just was there. Yeah. He's one of those
Genius.
rare people. Yeah. Like we think about Ramanujam or we think
Hmm.
about
So,
Shakuntala. He's just there. Oh, yeah. They're gifted. Yeah. And
yeah,
they're not after fame or name. It just will happen to them one day.
correct, correct, correct. So
Yeah.
awesome. So please finish the joke. A physicist, a chemist, and a material scientist go to the bar.
Okay, let me try this way. Yeah, you take chemist, yeah, they make fantastic materials, perfect composition, perfect everything. Yeah, they're very good at that. But they're not concerned about the experiments with it. So they are, let's say, they are good materials, bad experiments. Yeah.
Okay.
And physicists, they do absolutely fabulous experiments. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. But they don't make good materials. Sometimes they don't even have a material. They start planning the experiment. Yeah. So
Okay.
they're very good experiments, very bad material. Yeah.
Hmm.
Material science operates in the real world,
Hmm.
real complexity world. Yeah. They're always trying to make materials, see how they break. Yeah.
Hmm.
They always want to break things. They always want to burn things. They want to corrode things. So they know what the limits are. Yeah.
Hmm.
So and therefore they make materials with weakness in them
Hmm.
purposely. Yeah. So material scientists are very good at making bad materials and doing bad experiments. But the real
Very.
world.
That was a fab answer, Professor. And that was the last question, too. So, any message would you like to give our friends in Bhilai and any message for Bhilai Education Charitable Trust?
Our friends in Bhilai. Yeah, it's great to connect to you all at all the time, and it's a pleasure that I had this great life together with you all in Bhilai, and we share over generations and what we all experience. We all understand each other intrinsically, and it's a pleasure that from wherever we are, that we are engaged with each other all the time. And for the work that you're doing with BECT, and I really congratulate you on this wonderful effort. I think it's great. I think what you're doing is a charity which actually fully pays attention to what I will call as a claim of justice. So it's based on the fact that it's not just a donors giving and somebody receiving, but it is based on a sense of producing this equality in that climbing ladder. Yeah. So therefore, it's anything that's a true charity for me. That is based on that the people actually deserve these things. It's not that we give it to them. Yeah. And that I think I congratulate on you, and I hope you succeed and become a very large model for others to follow as well in the
Thank
future.
you. Really, thank you so much for that. And I really value the insights you shared. And I'm so very thankful for your time, Professor
Yeah.
Vasant.
Thank you very much. Nice to
Thank you
talk to you.
so much. Yeah. दोस्तों उम्मीद है कि आप इन कॉन्वर्जेशंस का आनंद ले रहे हैं. See you soon again. Bye bye.
Yeah, okay, we're off the recording now.